Hey guys, in his book, Unafraid, Navy SEAL Eddie Penny recounts a story where he was tracking down a barbaric terrorist, and he went into their camp, and he said, I think it was in Iraq. He did so many missions in Iraq and Afghanistan, I lost count, but I believe it was Iraq. And he said at night it gets so hot that the people will sleep outside on the ground, and he came upon this terrorist, and his wife was laying right next to him. They were both laying on their mats side by side on the ground, and as the terrorist reached for his AK-47, Chief Penny put a couple bullets in his chest and a bullet in his head. And when he looked at the wife, to his surprise, unemotional, she just rolled up her mat and walked off, found another place to lay. And I thought to myself, this is probably how divorce feels to a lot of men and women. You give your life for a person, and then they just roll up their mat and find somewhere else to sleep. And I can't imagine the pain of divorce. I can't imagine. And the Lord's been leading me to do a video on suffering. I got a lot of scripture verses just overwhelming me. And can't do it when I'm sitting in my truck because I got to put them together orderly so you guys get everything the Lord wants you to get out of it. And it's going to be suffering in general. And I'm also going to have a guest on. I mentioned him, I think, last week. Deacon Eddie Ensley, the author of The Sounds of Wonders. And I was really interested in having him because when I came back to the Catholic Church, his was one of the first books I read. And he's a scholar, and he gives the sources where he gets all his quotes. And, you know, he talked about St. Thomas Aquinas speaking in tongues, and St. Augustine, and all these guys were charismatic Catholics, and I thought that was pretty cool. So I wanted to have him on to discuss that. But as I was looking at his website, I seen, like, since then he's written like 18 more books. He's got like 19 books he's authored, and mostly on counseling. He's called to counsel people spiritually, you know, and emotionally. And so the interview changed a little bit. I still want him to go over his Sounds of Wonder book and give us the history of tongues in the Catholic Church. But also, we're going to talk a lot about healing, emotional healing, physical healing, spiritual healing. And I think it's going to be interesting, and I think it's going to help a lot of people that are suffering, whether you're suffering the emotional trauma of divorce or emotional trauma of abuse or physical ailments. I know I have a lot of subscribers that write me that have a lot of physical disabilities, and you know, Deacon Ensley, he has physical disabilities too. You'll see, I'm sure he'll talk about them, and you'll understand that he didn't allow these things to keep him down. He, you know, he allowed God to supernaturally work through him. And I think he was in grade school when his parents were told he'll never learn, and now he has a PhD and he's written 19 books. So I think he'll be a great person to have on the show for all you people out there that are suffering. And I just want to tell you, please subscribe and hit the notification so you don't miss it. I just spoke to him yesterday on the phone, and I'm getting over being sick. He's still in the midst of it. So, and then, you know, my son's always helped me, and one of them is sick, and the other one, I don't know if he's going to get it because we're all together Saturday night recording that debate. So we're playing it by ear when the interview is going to be, but Lord willing, it'll be within 2 weeks. And again, that's going to be Dr. Deacon Eddie Ensley. And I think he has a lot to offer the church if we're willing to listen. I believe this man is going to speak some powerful truth, and I'm really, really excited. Even my priest is very excited about this man coming on. He said he can't wait to see it. So, you know, speaking of suffering, no one suffers more than the innocent unborn children that get their limbs literally torn apart in their mother's womb. So help us end this barbaric practice. You know, no one denies the suffering that's happening unless they're a total science denier. With today's technology, there's no way you cannot know that that's a baby in there. That's a living human being that feels pain. I mean, the science is there. You have to be a complete science denier. Unfortunately, half of this country denies science because of convenience and because they're so indoctrinated into thinking that they themselves are God and they can decide who lives and dies. Us Catholics know better. So please, if you're buying or selling real estate, go to realestateforlife.org and help us end this barbaric practice once and for all in this great country. God bless and stay Catholic.